Hey guys, welcome to Hana Together. I'm Hana and this is where I share my inspiration together with you guys. So today I'll be doing my January bujo setup. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to like, comment and subscribe and hit the notification bell next to it to get notified each time I post a new video. So the theme I decided to do was this sort of moon or lunar theme, and I really liked how it turned out in the end. It's a bit different to the other styles I sort of normally do, and yeah. So I did make a few mistakes, or I did change things in this setup, but I show you how I changed it to the way I liked it, and it turned out really nicely in the end. So for the front cover page, I actually decided to stick a piece of black paper onto the right side of the page. I thought this is sort of nice for the moon theme to have it a bit more black and white, as those are the sort of colors I only used. I only really used black, white, and sometimes I added a bit of silver elements. And yeah. So in the middle, I decided to do this moon, and how I did it was I used a paint marker and I actually drew a circle and filled it up with paint, and then using a back of a sticky note, I actually dabbed off some of the paint while it was still wet, so it sort of gets that moon textured effect, because I was really wondering how I should do it, because I didn't really want to use acrylic paint or watercolor. It sort of would take a longer time and I couldn't really feel bothered, but yeah, so this way really worked. And of course you don't have to use a sticky note, you could always use like a piece of paper or a sponge or a tissue, just something that would help roughen it up and give that sort of effect. And in some places that you want it a bit more white, you can always add more paint and just keep on dabbing it off. So around the moon, I actually did this sort of rectangle box, and here around it, I sort of just entangled these sort of vines that with leaves and different roses. And in the middle, I just wrote January in this nice cursive font, and also just drew a bunch of stars and small dots in this sort of Milky Way effect around the moon. So onto the next page. On the page to the left, I actually did a quote page. I thought this would be really nice. I kept this pretty white as the other side of the page is pretty dark anyway. So I wanted to make this page a bit brighter to sort of even out between the blacks and whites. So as you can see, I just drew a whole bunch of these different staggered lines, some shorter than others. And basically at the end of it, I just drew a whole bunch of different stars in different shapes and sizes, and also some moons, and I thought this looked really nice. So the quote I decided to do was reach for the stars, and basically saying reach as far as you want to go and don't let anyone really hold you back from reaching the stars. Anyway, I wrote this in silver, and I did it in another cursive font again. As you can tell, the sort of font I decided to do was this cursive font and just normal uppercase block writing. So I really like how I wrote stars. Basically, I did this faux calligraphy, and on the downstrokes I left it empty, drawing this black line and filling it out with lots of white stars. So onto the next page, I did my monthly spread. At first it didn't really turn out the way I thought it would be, as I always sketch everything out beforehand, but the way I envisioned it to be was basically a bunch of stars in the night sky and it falling down, and then at the bottom there's a whole pile of stars. But I just thought it would actually be kind of hard to portray it. So the way I did it, it didn't really turn out the way I wanted it to be. But I wanted to show you guys how I did it anyway. To make a mistake, it's not the end of the world, because I could easily change it, and it changed to something that I enjoyed even better. So anyway, for the monthly boxes, I decided to do sort of this grid layout, and I just made it all connected. I just thought it's the best way for me to have a lot of space to write down, yet it looks sort of minimal and not too all over the place. In the top left corner of each individual boxes, I just added a circle and wrote the number, and for the title of each day, I decided to just color it in black and just write the days of the week in my white gel pen. So here you could see this is what I tried to do. Basically, it was the pile of stars at the bottom. I mean, it doesn't look too bad, but I didn't really want to have something that I was going to regret in my bullet journal, because I don't want to always look back on it and feel like, oh, why didn't I change it? So I just decided to change it anyway. That way I have no regrets. So here you could see I just ripped off one of the black pieces of paper I had in the corner, and here I literally just covered it all up using half a black piece of paper, and I really like how it turned out in the end, and it sort of looks intentional. I feel like it looks nice having half black, half white, sort of having a contrast between the two colors. As you can see, I also redid the moon, so I just did it on a separate black piece of paper and cut it out, and then I also redid January and it sort of have it overlaying on top of the moon, and also doing that same cursive with a little bit of a black drop shadow. So to fill out some of the empty spaces, I thought it did look a bit bare, so I really wanted to add that sort of moon or lunar theme. So I decided to do another like cluster of different stars and dots to create this sort of Milky Way, and I sort of did it in like a wavy shape to go all around, starting from the top, going around to the right side and all the way down to the left. And I just thought this is really nice to fill up some of the space, but it wasn't like too busy or hard to draw. This monthly spread that I actually did for this theme this month didn't take too long for me. I also didn't add as many spreads as it is the holidays, so I found that I don't really need to do that many tasks or have like a double page for each subject, as I don't really know what subjects I'm going to be doing for next year anyway. So I thought this was just a great simple spreads to do. I don't want to have too much, and this year my focus is also to sort of have it sort of organized so that I can use it in a manner that I'm going to use a long time, not just something that I won't use a lot anyway. So on the left page, I decided to do sort of like a monthly reflections. So I have my January goals, and for this section, this is basically at the start of January I'll fill out. So this is what I want January will be. It's sort of like a key word for the month of January, and then I just have a section for the different goals that I want to do. And then for the January review, it's basically a review of January. So this is basically what I have to do at the end of January. So some of the questions I have is January in one word. So just like how January will be, I want to see actually after how I would describe January in one word and how it sort of went. Then I've got my different highlights of like how, like what were the high parts of it. And I think later I actually might add also lowlights, so like what are actually like the best points that I really enjoyed in January, but also what might be some low points as well. And here I've also got how did I do and how can I improve. So like how did I actually go in achieving my goals that I wanted to do, and like how productive was I, or like and how can I improve for the next month. So each month I sort of want to improve on sort of reviewing myself. This year I sort of want to care about myself and improving me as a person. So finally, for this month's last spread, I decided to just go with a simple to-do list. As I mentioned before, I don't really need that much space to write stuff as it is the holidays. So sometimes I do like to relax, and not every day is that productive, but I still wanted to have some space to write some things down, just in case I do have some tasks I want to finish. And yeah, so I did want to jazz it up a bit as the page was looking quite bare. And so on the right hand side, I just decided to add more moons. So what I did was the same technique as my front cover page. I just got my black sticky notes and I used a white paint marker, and basically I drew the shape I wanted to and filled it up with a lot of that white paint, and then dab it off with another piece of sticky note. And yeah, I found that it was a bit harder than doing just a full circle, as doing some of those crescent moons did require a bit more accuracy, because like the shape is harder and you can't really like smudge it out, otherwise it's too like, it gets really smudgy anyway. So be careful when you do this and not move the top of the piece of paper that you're trying to dab it off with. And yeah, this is the end of my January setup. I really hope you've enjoyed this, even though there aren't as many spreads as usual. And make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!